What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm kind of excited for this one, guys. I've been sitting on a bunch of parts now. You guys know the Aristo is kind of the hand-me-down car. So anything that I don't use on the SC or gets upgraded, typically is in pretty good shape and can be handed down to the Aristo because Jay-Z's, lots of things cross over. Now, first of all, we fixed the power steering. That was kind of a pain. We had a little issue on the way home from North Carolina. It turns out there is a screen and like a diffuser kind of thing inside the power steering reservoir on the Aristo, which is really cool because a lot of them don't actually have that. This one does. Well, I guess there's been a bunch of funk from the car sitting, or the rubber lines are starting to deteriorate. It actually clogged up that screen and then cavitated the pump, and then we lost power steering around Knoxville. That kind of sucked. We did make it home, and I rebuilt a pump that I had that was just leaking like crazy, but it still worked, off the drift car. So I did that, and I put the pump on, I put a bunch of new stuff on, flushed a bunch of new fluid through, and I still don't have power steering. Turns out, it must have just purged the entire system of pretty much everything, because from the time that I left my house and then to when I got to the shop, about a 15-20 minute drive, depending on traffic, I've got power steering. The fluid is just like super aerated. So been trying to work all the air out, but I'm excited. I got power steering again. Obviously, I was starting to get a little stressed out because I thought I was going to have to rebuild the rack, which this is not the time for that. This is also another video about that, but power steering's fixed. Now, what is this video about? I've been sitting on parts. That's what this is about. I've been sitting on some stuff that I initially bought for the drift car. Kind of little aesthetic touches, but then Grip Royal came on board, and they've got these really rad covers to delete the horn button. But I had bought some stuff from the same guy, Brian, that I get my wheels from. Vintage Tom's Racing horn button. I obviously don't have a horn in the drift car, but I figured that would be kind of a cool thing. However, now that I have the Aristo, I had another thing that Brian had that I've always wanted one. A Nardi steering wheel. Now, the cool thing about this steering wheel, it's from November of 1981. It is older than I am. I was born in 1986, also in November. Birthday month. But this wheel's older than I am, and it was still like the center, the anodizing and everything was still in really good shape. A couple little nicks. Obviously, it's not a big deal because it's, old. However, the leather was kind of falling apart. To be expected from a steering wheel that's almost 40 years old. My buddy, a longtime friend of mine, Ed Graves of Six Saddles, he does amazing interiors. He's done most of my dad's interiors of all of his hot rods and street rods and pretty much anything. If he needs interior done, Ed has always done it. Well, he moved to Florida, but he's back. And he just happens to be renting the front part of the shop. Well, I gave him the steering wheel, and I was like, hey, I'm not in any rush. But earlier today, he surprised me and said, hey, I got this thing done. You guys, check this out. Ed killed it on this steering wheel. This leather could not be more soft. He fit it all, stitched it. He asked me, what color stitching do I want? I said, well, the interior is gray. I was originally going to go with black. He was like, well, let's do a little bit of pop. And I was like, okay, well, the interior is gray. He had this like gunmetal thread, and he like triple stitched this thing. And and you guys can't even see it. There. Check that out. Look at the beautiful stitching. He did an amazing job. Like, you can still see everything on the back. But yeah, check that out. 1981. I'm going to put this thing down so that I can... 1981. How crazy is that? Older than me. You guys can see it's in good shape. It's cleaned up quite a bit. Got that guy. So, little pop of color, little splash of color in the inside of the Aristo. A little bit sporty, still classy. Nardi classic. It's not a deep corn. It's not super offset, but that's okay. My buddy Bill with the S13 has been looking at steering wheels as well. He ordered this guy from Right Hand Drive Japan, and this guy for me because he was ordering something. These came in today. Really, really, really good timing. It's meant to be. So this is the HKB Boss Kit, so it's just an adapter. The cool thing about this, they also sell this, but the cool thing about this retains cruise control. So full streetcar mode. Cruise control is retained with this guy. Very, very, very cool. So everything's in Japan, or in Japanese. No surprise, made in Japan, from Japan. This right here is the airbag delete dummy plug. So this plugs in, and boom, no airbag light. Very cool. How great is all this stuff? I'm just super stoked. So I'm going to warn you guys, the lighting over here is terrible. Well, a couple of the lights have gone out. Fluorescent bulbs are the worst. Been trying to slowly upgrade things to LEDs in here, but, you know, less than worried about all that with COVID and everything, because I'm barely down here. But the light is terrible. We need to get the factory steering wheel off. We need to make sure we don't turn the key on with the airbag unplugged. Guys, that's a pro tip there. If you turn the key on with the airbag unplugged, you will have an airbag light, and you will have to reset it. Leave the key off, do what you need to do, and get everything plugged back in before you turn the key on, or you'll have an airbag light. It's a pain. You can get the light out, but think about it, guys. This is a 1993. You have to do a sequence of grounding a pin, and I did it on my SC streetcar, and it probably took me 2 hours to do because I probably did it 15 times wrong. So, and the plug is under the dash, so it's not fun to get to. Don't turn your key on with the airbag unplugged or the dummy thing not plugged in. Pro tip there. So I need to get the tools together to get the steering wheel off the Aristo, and then like I said, the lighting's terrible over there, so I'll probably just update you guys as I take things apart, like once the steering wheel's off. I do apologize. I did warn you guys the lighting is terrible. But we got the Boss Kit on, 19 millimeter down in there. I got their little like airbag dummy light, and it was kind of confusing because it was all in Japanese. I did the whole Google Translate thing and kind of figured things out, but basically in the end, Ryan stopped by and we kind of looked at it, and he said just stop overthinking it and shove it in there. So that's basically what we did. We just connected the two together. I ended up using both pins because it was like a dual pin. It was like a forked situation. And I think that really it was just two different style of pins depending on what your car has. But I put that in there, plugged everything in here. It actually has two of the wires for the diagnostics. Those are going to be your left and far right once it's plugged in. I'm pretty sure that is actually to reset your airbag light, is my guess. But then the far right one is your horn. So stick that one out of here and pick your screws, whichever ones, I guess, work best with your steering wheel or whatever. This guy is your little adapter for your horn button. That goes on like that. Steering wheel's next. I'll get that on because I can't hold the camera and operate things at the same time. Alright, cool. It's in here. I didn't really have the right bolts. It had some bolts, but they were like... They didn't have a washer, and all the washers I had weren't black. They were stainless. So I used the countersunk screws. Not really correct for this. I'm going to get different ones. Or maybe not. These might stay in here forever. But horn still works. So I guess we'll turn the key on, and that's when we'll find out if the airbag light's happy. But stitching matches the interior, which is really awesome. Little touch of black in here. Something a little bit different. I don't know if you guys can see. Get to retain the cruise control. So that's pretty cool too. Exciting. I'm going to stand up here, show you guys what this thing looks like. Hey, look at that lighting. All right. I think it looks pretty good. Needs to be cleaned up just a little bit. The red horn button's kind of in your face, but looks good. And yeah. A little bit sporty, a little bit smaller. I won't hit my knees as much now. So that's good. Alright, got the new steering wheel in. Easy enough. With that 19, you don't have to go crazy. They are splined. And it is also tapered a little bit. So don't go crazy on that nut. You'll never get that boss back off. Without a puller, which is silly. To get the steering wheel off, just wiggle, left to right and then up and down from the top and bottom of the steering wheel and the left and right of the steering wheel. The stock one will just pop right out. The nut was not very tight. So tip there. Hope you guys like the new wheel. I'm excited about it. Like I said, vintage parts for a vintage import car. I don't know. Sporty, kind of still fits the era, everything like that. But I'm excited to get less grandpa things in the interior. Give it, the sporty feel that the car really is kind of supposed to have in general. Sports sedan, sport touring, I don't know. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Consider subscribing. Check out these videos. I've got a playlist for the Aristo. I've got a bunch of how-to videos going on with the Aristo and Jay-Z stuff and rebuilding things. So check those out, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.